What's up ninjas, it's Poir, and it's finally time to cover Dereliction. This is the most overpowered skill in the game, bar none, but outside of speedrunners, I don't think the average player should run this. But there are some applications that can make this manageable. First off though, what is Dereliction? This is basically the final boss's set bonus, which applies up to 3 curio onto you. The first triggers at the start of the quest, the second triggers 45 seconds in, while staying on the same scroll, and the third triggers after 90 seconds with the same conditions. You will lose health gradually over time as soon as the quest starts, but the effects you get depend on the number of curio and it depends on which scroll you're on. With red scroll you get elemental and status, and with blue scroll you get raw attack added, flat, up to 35 raw with a blue scroll, and for red up to 20 flat elemental or status on your weapon. Switching scrolls though will lose you those big bonuses, but heal you based off the number of curio you have on you. So in a pinch, if your life is low, you can swap scrolls to heal back before an attack can kill you. For the most part however, for raw weapons, level 1 Dereliction is enough. You'll have 25 raw with 3 curios up, compared to the 35 with level 3, which is only a 10 raw difference. However, for elemental, you almost always want 3, as 20 flat element is pretty insane for weapons like bow, dual blades, and switch axe, and is nearly double the amount level 1 Dereliction gives for red scroll. So that is Dereliction. Now, there are ways to sort of combat the health drain a bit. A common trick is to eat for super recovery dango level 4 and use glutton fish, which you can get by cooking fishes at the Motley Mix at the canteen. This doesn't completely stop the health loss, but it definitely slows it down by a lot, although it'll only last for a bite and you'll have to reapply it eventually. I would still eat for super recovery dango level 4 however, if you plan to use the skill, with booster as the second and moxie as the third. Of course, having a wide range party member can also heal you up, especially with speed eating. Life powders too, as well as dogs and cats. For cats, with a healer cat with healing Clover Bat, with Clover Bat up, you should be able to stop the health drain and periodically stay topped up. Similarly, for dogs, with the Umbrella equipment and Heal Blade scroll, they can help heal the damage you take too. And then of course there's anomalies that inflict blood blight on you, which recovers your health when you attack them. Rite also does this, but only against damaged parts, so you'll likely be low life by the time this actually kicks in. It's not bad, but you're losing damage to break even, so it just makes for a wonky playstyle that a standard non-Dereliction build would be comfier at maintaining. I tested on stream some configurations for this, for multiplayer, however, it seems Bloodlust is what you really want alongside Dereliction. Whenever you overcome the Frenzy virus from Bloodlust, your red health gauge recovers, so any curio dot on you instantly puts you back at full life, assuming nothing hit you. In other words, overcoming Frenzy is no different than a free max potion. So, you want Bloodlust at level 1, so that way every minute and some change, you can recover back to full when you proc Bloodlust, getting you out of that OHKO range. So for multiplayer, I think this is the only true way to make Dereliction worthwhile, and unlike Rite, Bloodlust does gain you damage or crit chance as compensation, and can get you health at the start of the quest, whereas Rite does nothing for several minutes, depending on the weapon. So as far as build routes you should take, you got 2 to 3 paths. There's use Dereliction with Bloodlust for multiplayer, there's raw level 1 Dereliction for speedruns, and then elemental level 3 Dereliction for speedruns, solo. While Hell Mel does exist and its extra damage, its bonuses are opposite to Dereliction, so Hell Mel only really benefits elemental builds only, not raw. So, time for the builds. Gonna cover longsword, bow, and switch axe, 1 to 2 builds each with budget options, just as examples for stats you should aim for with a Dereliction setup. First off, multiplayer longsword, budget option with QS2 to 2 or Wirebug Whisperer 3 to 2. This uses Derelict LS, hell yeah. Math wizards say Sunderer Plus is now the best longsword EFR wise, but having used it on stream, that thing ate through sharpness pretty quickly if you're not using Hellbreaker, so you're gonna end up sharpening at least 3 times per hunt. So for sack style with Sakura spam, Valto's slow was more comfy. Same stats, but 10% less affinity. But here, I can just use Max Might to combat the affinity part of Draw to the Sword, and still have more sharpness than Sunderer with Handicraft 2, and I have Water on top to outdamage Sunderer against water-weak monsters like Magnum Aloe. So overall, I think this is the best approach. This is built with Sacred Sheath in mind, which is the premier multiplayer playstyle, where Max Might isn't totally reliable half the time, hence the crit draw. you'll still have 90% chance to crit when you overcome Bloodlust. Sunderer does get 100%, so it's up to you, but you'll have to sharpen 50% more of the time, and if you drop to blue and continue attacking, your damage gain goes out the window. For a solo god build, just an example for an elemental longsword build with the EI Helmbreaker style, then something like this would be ideal, with the Unwaldron longsword. For LS, I still think Dereliction 1 is the way to go, even for elemental, but this gets 100% crit, Hail Mail for 15 raw and red, and scrapping Bloodlust since you want to get to low life faster to trigger Adrenaline from Moxie. Which, by the way, is the real reason Dereliction is strong, Adrenaline. That's why speedrunners use it, not so much for the bonus itself, but the ability to go to low life guarantee without needing to get hit. Anyways, next, Bow. With uber damage build, I was able to get a sub 1 minute 20 time on Master Rank Raytheon and a 2.5 minute time against Master Rank Rathalos. And I'm not a speedrunner, so a sub 1 minute Raytheon, for example, should be possible with this setup. This is the damage version for a premature look at my Dragon Spread Bow build. Against Raytheon, she barely has a chance to fight back with the kind of damage I'm putting out. However, Rathalos proved more dangerous, and I assume anomalies will be even more dangerous since you have to hit multiple spots, and since they have more HP, you're at risk more since if you get hit at all below 50% HP, you're dead. So these are some stats to aim for Valstrax's bow specifically. You definitely want Dereliction 3, and for a budget version, something like this will be nice for solo speedruns. Eat for fighter level 4 to cap stamina with Constitution 2. This is mainly for solo. If you want to do multiplayer with bow, I recommend rapid or pierce only if you're doing a dereliction build for safety reasons. And lastly, Switch Axe, getting me a sub 2 minute Cyanotar kill despite being trash at Switch Axe. This is with Nara's Switch Axe, which seems to be the best thunder one overall. But for Swax, Dereliction makes less sense since I like to switch scrolls for the counter on one scroll and then the meter charge on the other. And you can't really do that without resetting your curios. But likewise with bow, prioritize Dereliction 3, Rapid Morph. This gets purple sharpness with Nara's Swax with a couple of PPs and handicraft to stay purple. And yeah, offense, offense, offense. For a budget multiplayer version, something like this would be okay with Narwa's with a 2/2 slot Rapid 2 charm. You dump purple sharpness completely and get Hail Mail, a little more riskier, but your options aren't too great for this Swax specifically since you just lack the slots to have things like Power Prolonger in tandem with sharpness and more damage skills on top. But I would only use this against anomalies so you can lifesteal damage back when you ZSD. So that is Dereliction and some example builds. Resentment always scored less EFR than attack 5 to 7, just FYI. That's why I always prioritize it over Resentment. For low 310 to 320 raw weapons, it swings in Resentment's favor if you could only choose one, but even then it's hard to fit that in alongside Crit I7 for example, hence my shortcut with Max Might and Crit Draw for Longsword. Overall, it still seems too risky for multiplayer, especially as we approach the next 5-star tier from the next update, which who knows how hard those things are going to hit for. Push comes to shove, you better start collecting those spirit birds. Or, if you want something the exact opposite to this, you can check out my Immortal build video for thick builds to handle any content at a slower pace, but hey, way less risk of dying. But that's all for me. Give the video a like, comment down below your opinions on Dereliction. Is it good, bad, do you use it for solo or multiplayer too? Let me know, and subscribe and hit the noti for more Sunbreak epicness.